Let's get into a little bit of shite, shall we? Hey folks, welcome to Apocalyptic. I am Rick, and I've been away for a while. I apologize. Look, this was a unexpected, kind of a forced vacation on me. I wasn't prepared for it. I didn't even expect it. Wasn't planning it. I got sick. Yeah, and I thought it was going to be COVID. I was like, really, number 3? I get 3 COVIDs, and I took a test. I was negative, but it still just felt just yucky. And I remembered several years ago when I got slammed hard it was one spring, like right around St. Patrick's Day. I was doing a job in Texas, and I got hit, just knocked me down. And I went to the doctor. I was like, what do I have? And the doctor's like, I think it's allergies. And it was the first time I'd known that I had allergies. I was like, what? This is not me. I don't have allergies. And then I had to find out that I did, and I had to get on the medication stuff. So I really believe that that's what happened this time, because I've kind of been slipping and not taking my allergy medications because they've stopped working. And that's weird when your medication stops working. And so I switched to another one, and I just kind of stopped taking them. And I think it accumulated. It just hit me, knocked me down. And for like a week, a little more, in some ways I couldn't even talk, and it was hard to function. And it's the world. The world is resisting me, trying to force me out. I don't look at it as like I'm allergic. I feel like the world is allergic to me. That always take the standpoint that you're the center of existence. So that's the way I look at it. And I have to take some medications to make the world happier. To have me in the world, so it will stop resisting me. And I forgot to do it. So the world has been pushing me out, and recently, the last few days, it started accepting me again. So here we are. Thanks to the people who contacted me and was like, what's going on? Where have you been? Are you still doing the show? Because I don't even know you're out there. And it's nice when I hear from people and I realize, oh, wow, people actually listen to this thing. So that's a good thing. You know who you are. Thank you for listening. Thank you for interacting and checking, because not everybody does. Sometimes I think people are just like, oh, all right, let's let that go. But no, and today I have my coffee. I've got some delicious. So what I do is I buy cinnamon dolce coffee from Starbucks. It's my favorite coffee right now. I'm a big cinnamon person. And, it's Starbucks, so it's on the expensive side. And then I buy cheap-ass coffee, Don Francisco's, I think vanilla bean is what it is. And it's cheap-ass, but good. It's good cheap-ass coffee. I would just have nothing but that, really. And so I mix them. I put a half and half. And so vanilla coffee kind of goes good with anything, really. So you mix it with the cinnamon, and it's very nice. So today I have the vanilla cinnamon coffee, and I'm hoping it'll keep me from being, hoping it'll keep me from being raspy. I really, for a while, I wasn't even sure I could talk. That's why I didn't do the show, because I don't mind doing the show if I don't feel well. I've done a few of those, but if I can't talk, no one wants to hear that, right? So I was like, no. So I finally got to a point where I could speak a little bit. While I'm speaking, let me just say, I'm going to go ahead and throw this out at the beginning. We do have a listener line, 678-348-0008. Now, that line exists for you. I don't use it for anything else. Bill collectors don't even contact me through that. It's just for you. If you want to participate in the show, if you want to say anything, just let me know what's on your mind. Give me your opinion about anything I'm talking about, or anything in general. Just feel free to call that number, 678-348-0008. Now, I hate calling. I don't like using the phone. I'm not a call person. I much prefer texting or emailing or not doing anything. That's my preferred method. Just leave me alone. But you can't do that sometimes. You have to interact. And so if you don't like calling, you can text that number too. So you just send me a text. I'll do all the work. I'll read your text and let people know who you are, what you think. And I don't know, maybe I'll respond. Who knows? And then if you don't like any of those options, we have more options. Rick at apocalyptic.com. That's me. You can send me an email there or just something through Facebook. I do have a Facebook page. And we got the regular apocalyptic.com page where there just episodes are there too. You can look us up. Now that's everywhere pretty much that you can contact me. The podcast is entering into our 1 year in existence. Isn't that amazing? 1 year that I've been doing this freaking podcast. So here's what I remember. And it's not year. We're not at a year yet. I don't think we're at a year until November, but we're moving that way. I had intended on opening it now, like in September. I was going to start it in September, and then things happened. I don't even remember. I think I had a job. Couldn't do it. Couldn't put it together. And then I wanted to do something for Halloween. That didn't happen. And so in November, I was like, I got to get this thing going before the year's up. And I think I did it in November. I'm pretty sure. I need to go back and look to make sure and see when our 1 year exactly is. But I've decided 1 year, I actually was reflecting on what I should do on 1 year. Do I need to keep doing this? Is it time to let this podcast go? Is it time to stop? I don't know. I mean, I don't get a lot of response. I don't know how many people. I mean, look, I have no illusions about the show. I'm not a famous comic. I'm not a famous personality. I'm not a radio star, TV star, movie star. I don't have a following. I understand. I know this. So I'm not going to have like thousands and thousands of people. No one wants to hear what I have to say. My wife doesn't even want to hear what I have to say. I don't think she's listened to the podcast since I've started. How can I get other people to listen to the podcast if my own wife won't even listen to the podcast? But the good thing is I could say things about her or talk about our life, and she never knows it. So that's the good thing about it. And if you look at it, it's the same way with I could talk about anybody and they won't know because no one listens to the podcast, but that's fine. I would do this podcast even if not a single, you're out there, I do it for you, my friend. But I would do it. I don't know if I would do it if I found out no one was listening. That would be stupid. I wouldn't even record it. I would just sit at home and do this to myself, talk. I would force one of my dogs or my cat to sit across from me, and I would just do the podcast for them. I kind of do that anyway. Anyway, good coffee. So here's what I'm thinking. I am going to keep doing it. I do want to keep doing it. I have fun doing it. I like doing it. All my podcasts that I've done, it's just something I enjoy doing. I don't spend a whole lot of time in my life communicating with people. I'm an artist. I tend to be more secluded, and I'm not a recluse, I'm not a hermit. I do get out. I see people and talk to people, but generally, this is kind of my way of connecting with the world, and I like that. I wish the world would connect more with me. I know that the world is allergic to me and trying to force me off the planet. I understand that, but still, it would be nice if some people would, reach out and tell me what they think of the show. And so now, I'm asking you if you would just let me know. Here's the thing. You could give me some suggestions on what you'd like to, maybe some directions. It's like, maybe I'd like to hear some news. Maybe send me some news, crazy news. I don't know. Maybe I'd like to hear this, some whatever. More interviews. Do you want to hear? It's a good time, what I'm saying. It's a good time to tell me how you feel about the podcast, what features maybe that you like, you don't like. Is it too short, too long? That's a good possibility. How should I tweak it, or should I? Do you care? Is the big thing, I guess. But anyway, so I'm going to be doing that for year 2, and I think I'll kind of start that in January. We'll kind of start maybe adding some new features, maybe tweaking some stuff. I like the opening music. Dan and David made our opening music, and that's great. I still like it. The weird thing about music is when you first hear it, you're like, oh, I don't know. I don't really know. And then it develops a personality after a while, and it's just like, that's the show. Most of the podcasts I've done is the same way. You kind of start off, you just like, I don't even know if this is going to fit. And then it becomes like a character in the show. So that's good. And I love the music. So I think I'm going to keep the music. And but anything else, well, I'm open. Tweak. Should I just completely kill the listener line? No one listens. No one uses it. I'm not paying for it, so I don't really care. Why not just keep it? But anyway, it's a good time. That's what I'm saying. Get involved. Help me out to build this podcast that hopefully you will listen to. Today I got a little potpourri of things. It's one of those shows where I just got things. After I've been off for a while, accumulated a few things, and I just kind of want to bring them up, talk about them if I can. I have mentioned, Halloween is coming up. Oh man, I love this time of year. Really, really getting it. I think I'm going to be into fall more this year than even I was last year. I get to do some fall things. I'm going to go out and fall myself this year, autumn myself, Halloween myself. Might even go to a party. Might even dress up. I don't know. Looking forward to little 5 Points Halloween parade down in Atlanta. If you're in the area, by the way, it's one of the best Halloween celebrations. Come on down. They say it's family friendly. I wouldn't bring my kids. I don't think. They probably have a kids part, but for the most part, a lot of, I don't know. It's okay with kids. There's nothing too crazy. It's a little alternative. You do smell the weed occasionally, but this is the world the kids live in. Let them smell the weed. I don't know. I can't believe I'm actually saying smell the weed. Yes, last year was good weather and COVID was over, so the celebration was doing quite well. And the parade, I don't know, I was a little, I felt the parade, I was in a bad location. That's what it was. It's in a bad location, but I still kind of enjoyed it. But my wife and I went and after it was over. But by the way, if you try to go get food after this parade, why? It's crazy. There's 1,000, 100,000, not that many, but like tens of thousands, maybe that many, of people out in the street trying to get a table. So you're just not going to get a good table. But we did. We weaseled our way into a table. And I had really, really good nachos last year. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Halloween is the time for nachos. But I want nachos. Anyway, looking forward to Halloween. And here's what we should do something on the show. Halloweenish. I talked about if you want to write a story, a poem, just a little incident. I don't care. Some kind of creative thing. If you want to write it, I would read it on the show. I'm going to try to write. From our past podcasts, we always had this kind of a essay thing, Halloween essay thing, and we would read the essays every year. We did Kilt of Horrors, and then I can't remember what we called it after that. But I kind of want to I want to keep that going because I like it. But I'm the only one now, so I can't do the entire show. I might write one. Maybe I'll write two. But if you'd like to contribute, just reach out, let me know, and I can kind of give you some of the parameters. There's just something scary, something not too... It doesn't have to be for kids. It can be an adult, but just nothing too crazy, graphic, gory, whatever. I don't know. We'll see. There's no rules. I'm open to almost anything, as you might know. So, question for you. This is something I've been thinking about a lot, and I think I might have actually asked this question on the show before. Which is more noble, do you believe, to constantly better yourself, do more things, but add more hobbies to your list of things that you do, or perfect what you already do? So which is more noble? So I lean towards, I'm kind of in that number one category, and I've always been there. I've had people tell me, you do too many things. One of my professors told me that when I was in college, you're diversified way too much. I didn't know what that meant. I didn't know why that's a bad thing. And now, at my age, I still don't think it's a bad thing, but I understand the negativity, the negative aspect of that. Why it could be a bad thing to diversify. So I tend to kind of admire people that just, have a life and then they're like, I'm going to do a podcast. And then that's what they do. They do nothing but a podcast, and they perfect that throughout their life throughout their existence. They put everything that they do into this podcast and making it fantastic, and then marketing it and promoting it and building a budget for it, to doing design and branding it, getting interview, and that's their whole life is their podcast. I admire people who do that in anything, really. If you have a restaurant, that's what you do. You just have your restaurant. You make your restaurant. You can do, maybe you write poems or take photos or something. Everybody's got several things they like to do. But it's like, that's your thing. That's what you do. And I've never been like that. I have easy 30 things that I put equal amount of time in. So what happens is nobody could put all of their time into 30 things. So I put all of my time into this, to one thing for a while, and then I stop, and then I put all of my attention and time into another thing for a while, and then I just do that and I've done that my entire life. And so what happens is now I'm not saying the end of my life. What? The end? Who says that? No, but I'm on the downward slope. I don't even like saying that. I'm not. I'm still going up. Holy crap, I'm old. But I think I'm able to kind of look back and see, oh, wow, I should have probably picked fewer things to do, because I've already kind of got to the point where I've started eliminating some of that stuff from my life. Like right now, I'm sitting here and I'm looking across my podcast desk at a trombone that's sitting over in the corner of my room. And it's right next to my bass guitar. Now, I played trombone when I was in high school. And a few years ago, I was just like, I'd like to kind of pick that up again. I need to buy a trombone. So I went to a pawn shop, bought an old Yamaha trombone. And I played it for like a week. And then it's been sitting there collecting dust for 2.5, 3 years. And I keep telling myself I want to do it. See, that's the thing. I have intention to do it, but I just don't have the time. The intention is there, but not the time. And then I'm always writing or doing photography or doing art, or I have so many things that I want to do. I always wanted to be in a band. I had to give up that. I'm not in a band. I wanted to do a podcast. Doing a podcast, that's one thing I've kept doing. But how do you approach your life? Do you have 1,000 things that you put equal time into, or one thing that you try to perfect to be good at? And maybe those are the kind of people, like, you never heard of Picasso's song that he wrote, that he sang. And I'm not saying he didn't sing in the shower. He may have had a great voice. Maybe he, like at parties, he sang or something. But Picasso painted. That's what he did. And he didn't have like tons of other things that he did to distract him from the painting. He perfected that, and he became a master. And now we're talking about Picasso long after he died. No one's going to talk about me like Picasso after I die, except at the pawn shop, somebody's going to be like, how much you give me for this trombone? That's what they'll be saying about me. They may not even put my name to it. They got to get rid of my stuff. But how would you... Let's say you're talking to some young person just starting out, and they come to you and say, what should I do? I a lot of stuff I like to do. Should I diversify and do all of those things, or should I really focus in on one? If you're going to be a football player, play football. Just do that. Then you could become a really, really good football player. You have fun doing things here and there, other little things, cooking, whatever you want to do. But put all of everything that you have into that. I don't know what I would have done. I don't know where I would be, because the things I was kind of really into way back then, I'm not into anymore. And so I would have really worked hard to perfect something that I just lost the interest in, right? I used to do stand-up comedy. Boy, I was obsessed with it. And I still love stand-up comedy, and I like writing, and I love humor and all of that kind of stuff. But as far as performing stand-up comedy, every once in a while, there's a little feeling of, maybe I'd like to do that again. But for the most part, no. As a career, I can't imagine it. Wouldn't want to do it. So if I put all of my eggs into that basket, my eggs would be spoiled by now. It's easy to go do something else, I guess. So I don't know. I don't know what. And I've been thinking a lot about that. Should I just kind of every once in a while find myself, even now at my age, going, "Oh, I'd like to do that." I'm like, no, stop. No, you do too many things now. Back off and perfect your podcast. That's what the hundreds of people listen to is your podcast. Obviously, it's what they want. All right, a couple things I want to talk about here. This is kind of weird. I don't know how now. I can't even remember how I fell down into this rabbit hole, but let me give you a little bit of a background here. When I was in my 20s, I guess. Now, you've listened to the show or listened to any previous shows. You know, I have a background where I went to a religious college. I used to be kind of religious. I wanted to be a pastor, minister. I don't remember if I wanted to be a pastor. I wanted to be a minister, I guess. So I've always been interested in spirituality, and at the time, you know, I'm in college learning religion and all that. So in my 20s. My friend and I, we were both kind of spiritual explorers together, and we used to do a lot of just sitting around talking, philosophizing, theologizing. I can't even say those words anymore. That's how long it's been. And you remember those times when you're in college? You could sit up till 4:30 or 5 in the morning just talking about life, the existence, just all this existential stuff. And we kind of developed this, and I think I probably embraced it and maybe developed it a little more. We talked about it a lot, and I would call it the Gospel of Blasphemy. Now, what I'm going to say is not for everyone. I understand that. If you're a religious person, this may give you the heebie-jeebies, and that's fine. If you've ever had the heebie-jeebies, there's no cure. There's no vaccination. So be careful. So what I kind of, and I was one of those people that was raised, you didn't say certain words, you know, you didn't combine the word damn with the word God. You just didn't. It's like a ticket to hell immediately. I could not, even when I wasn't into religion anymore, I couldn't even say that word. I still have hesitation if I ever have to read it or say it's just like this thing where I just can't do it. It's been like programmed into me. So there's a lot of things that I don't even like thinking about. I just like, no, that's wrong. It's just sort of a knee-jerk reaction. But during this time when I was doing a lot of spiritual exploration, and I formulated this thing called the Gospel of Blasphemy, which I kind of believed it's sort of a spirituality based on the fact that you should be blasphemous. You should say words like that. You should talk about thoughts like that. If you ever listen to Bill Hicks, the comedian, who can be pretty blasphemous when it comes to Christianity, you should laugh at that. You should listen to that. If you're a Muslim, you should look at cartoons with your prophet. You should. Why? There's a saying, I think it's a Buddhist saying that says, and of course it is, if you meet the Buddha in the road, kill him. And the first time I heard that, I was like, what does that even mean? That's so weird. But basically what they're saying is, it's not going to be Buddha. It's not the real thing. If you ever meet the Buddha, it's not Buddha. It's an image of Buddha. Get rid of it. And it took me a long time to understand that. And essentially, and hold on if you're not religious, this is not a religious thing at all. We all have our kind of sacred cows in this world. Things that we, whether it's your country, your family, certain ideology that you have, that we kind of really grasp as being our holy way of looking at things. You don't mess with that. You don't talk about the country like that. You don't talk about the president like that. I've heard people say that kind of thing. And it's if you're not a religious person, that might be where your blasphemy comes from. But I think it's really important to challenge your beliefs, to find out what you consider the most holy and see if you can bring it down. I know that's kind of a little bit of anarchy for you, but I also believe that there's some value in that. And the reason I'm talking about this now is because I wasn't even looking for that, and I don't know how I stumbled upon this information. But sorry, I got in trouble for swallowing on the air, so I'm trying to not to swallow in the air while drinking my coffee. Sorry, I'm not slurping. So I discovered this. Do you know who the Aghoris are? The Aghoris are a sect of Hindus, a very, very they're monks in a way. They're very spiritual, very dedicated to Hinduism. But the Aghoris are practice, in a sense, the Gospel of Blasphemy. I don't think I had ever heard of. I've seen pictures of the Aghoris. I just kind of thought they were just Hindu monks. I didn't know anything about them, and I started getting into the Aghoris. Oh, I do know how I got into it. I found it was through a book that I read, which I'll talk about that book in probably another episode. But the book mentions the Aghoris, and so I started reading about them. And check them out. Aghoris in Hindu culture, they do all of the things that you're not supposed to do, and I'm telling you, you can't be a weak person. They have sex with the dead people. I mean, yeah. If you find it offensive, if you find it disgusting, if you find it taboo, the Aghoris do it. And that's one of the reasons why they do it. So they believe that everything is one and everything is divine. And so because of that, they try, I really think that they try to freak people out and proving that and letting people know that they see everything is divine and holy. They drink urine, they eat poop. I have to think they have a hard time recruiting monks. I just don't think. They eat out of human skulls. So in India they burn the bodies in public, and it's usually down around the Ganges or whatever. And so the Aghori will go down there, and then they just find body parts, bones, skulls. They collect skulls, and they open up the skulls. They use them to drink, to eat out of. They smoke marijuana, drink alcohol, all of this stuff. And so they've developed this reputation of being evil and weird and scary. A lot of people in India believe that they have special powers, that they could do evil things to you, and they're kind of cast aside a lot of times. You'll see them, you've probably seen pictures, these Hindu monks, where they're just completely white. They've got like white powder all over them. That white powder is human ash. They wipe their body down with human ash. So they're just completely white. They paint their faces and have this ash on them. They eat human flesh. So it's disgusting. It's weird. It's for us. Sorry, I didn't mean to actually label it, but I'm just saying generally this is what people think about it. But yet it happens. They're people. They're humans. It's going on, and it starts kind of challenging how you think about things, how you look at a body. And to me, it does what the Gospel of Blasphemy does, which is make you think. A lot of religion, and I don't mean this in a negative or an insulting way, but a lot of religion is kind of set up to keep you from thinking about things, right? So it's just like, don't challenge that. This is the way it happened. So the ark happened. One guy built this giant boat, and two animals of each species walked onto the boat. How did that happen? Don't ask. Just they did it. All right. Don't think about it. So I think that if you believe that, that's fine. I don't have a problem with the belief. You're allowed to believe what you want to believe. But I'm just saying, if you don't think about it, if you don't think about your beliefs, if you don't challenge them, and then still on the other end come out going, okay, I put it through the test. It makes sense to me, so I'm going to keep it. Okay, that's fine. But I think what they're doing is they're forcing people to think. I think they're forcing people to examine their beliefs, what they feel is holy, what they feel is sacred, the things that say, you don't question that. You don't question God. You don't. Okay, maybe you do. How about you do? How about you question every single thing in your life? I'm okay with that. I'm not going to do the poop eating. I'm sorry. I draw the line at eating poop and eating human flesh. And I've yet to find a dead person that I've been attracted to enough to go on a date with. I'll leave all of that stuff to the Aghoris, but I find the theology, the philosophy, interesting. There's some great documentaries about the Aghoris on YouTube. The documentaries aren't that disgusting, so I would say they're fascinating. So look them up if you have an interest, perhaps, in the Aghori. And but I would say, think about the Gospel of Blasphemy. Think about challenging that which you think is holy, that which you think should not be challenged. That is the point when you should actually challenge it. In my opinion, it's all just my opinion because it's my freaking show. All right, sorry, that was a slurp. All right, so we're running a little late, and that's cool. I'm gonna keep going. I got to talk to you about this last little thing. This I was up till 4 a.m. the other day. Here, I can be an obsessive person. Maybe you know this about me. When I get into something, when I find something interesting, I have to like dive in. I can't get enough information. I have to find out as much as I can. And it happens a lot with bands, with music. I'll find a band, I'll be like, what? Where did this band come from? Who are they? What is their background? I have to know everything about them, every album. I have to listen to interviews, and it gets tiring after a while. But I've always been that way. I just obsess with certain bands. And I found a band, and this is a frustrating thing. It shouldn't be frustrating. I tend to find a lot of things way after it's over. Okay. So like, for example, the TV show, The Office, it might be my favorite show. It's one of my favorite shows. I never watched a single episode while it was actually in existence. I didn't even find it until after it was over. The show had wrapped up, and I started watching reruns. My friend Sherry said, you got to watch this. And so I said, okay, I'll do it someday. She kept pushing me to it. Oh, you're really going to like it. And I always felt like it was the kind of show I would like. And then one day I watched it, and I had to watch the second and third, and I couldn't stop. And I binged it, and it was incredible. I loved it for the most part. There's some crappy episodes, but for the most part, loved it. Fantastic show. But it was over. I got on the train when the train was stopped, and I do that a lot. And this is kind of one of those cases. So I find this band, and they were big, I guess big. Yeah, big. 20 years ago, didn't even know it. I know that I've heard their music, I listened to them, but I started getting into them. The band is called Venus Hum. Do you know the band? Maybe you do, maybe you don't. I can't say I know I've listened because let's just first of all, let me just say that the music we would call pop-electronic or electronic pop, whichever one. And that's kind of a genre that I'm into anyway. I tend to like that. I don't like doing comparisons that much, but if you just need a frame of reference, a decent comparison might be, I would just say, less weird Bjork. Now, I'm into Bjork. I love Bjork. I would say she's up there in one of my favorite artists. But I also know Bjork can be hard to take sometimes. She's kind of like jazz. Sometimes world music, and sometimes there's no classification for it. And I think that's the way she would like it. But it's experimental for sure at times. But also it can be, it's just electronic pop sometimes. And that's good. This band, Venus Hum, is, I would just say, much more approachable. The lead singer has a sound similar to Bjork that's not like too wailing and screaming. Bjork can be out there sometimes. It's the lyrics are much more poetic, but still that kind of electronica. I don't know all of the terms. House, rave, dance, techno. There, all of those words. I know they're there, and I listen to a lot of that kind of music, but I don't know what each thing. I don't know the difference between house and techno. That kind of, I don't know. I need to find that out, I suppose. But this band. So here's how I found out. YouTube just said, maybe you should watch this video. And it was late at night, and I was just like, oh, it's a Blue Man Group. Okay, I love Blue Man Group. Maybe that somehow they found out I love Blue Man Group, so they're suggesting this video. And I start watching it, and it is a performance of Blue Man Group. So the video is just hair-raising, incredible, wow. I realized something about it seemed familiar. And then after I kind of examined, I realized I own the DVD. I own this Blue Man Group DVD. I've seen this before. That's the great thing about getting old, is you forget that you saw anything. So everything is new to you. I have a brand new wife I just found out last night. I've never seen this person before in my life. Suddenly she climbed into bed with me. It's incredible. Love it. That's the great thing about getting old. So, but even if I did see this performance, which I did, I never paid attention to it on the level that it hit me. And I won't go into it too much. I probably got into it way too much, but the performance was just amazing. And there was something about the lead singer that I was just like, this person, I need to find out more. She just had this joy of performing that is contagious. You instantly connect with that type of exuberance, and I did, and I was like, I gotta find out more. And then I find out that the band originated from Nashville. What? This kind of pop electronic band that's playing with Blue Man Group comes from Nashville? That's stupid. Well, obviously, I had to check into it. I had to get into it. And I find out, and I started listening. I listened to a lot of their music, and I listened to a whole bunch of the podcast interviews, and they just seem like a cool little band. It was 20 years ago that they did this. So unfortunately, they're like me in life. They're on the downward slope. Maybe. They're still making music, but they got babies. They got husbands and wives and lives. They're doing other things. They didn't diversify. They're making films. That's what happens when you don't diversify and you play with Blue Man Group. It happens. But they're still making music, and it's still awesome. And when you can watch them play, it's fun. And the lead singer's has an incredible voice. I got to get her. She needs to be a guest on the show. I need to get her on the show and talk. She said some stuff in an interview that I found very interesting. I'd like to talk about. But yeah, they're kind of settling down a little bit. They're still making music, and I love that. That's something that I didn't appreciate in my 20s. You want your bands out there touring and working hard. But there's something about having a life and then just saying, another one of my favorite bands, Poor Man's Poison, which I call grunge bluegrass. Oh man, they're so good. Might be the best band working today. They did the same thing. They're like, we want to make music. We're just going to do it in our own studio on our own time. We'll release it when we want to. And then it comes down and it's like, holy crap, that's awesome. Why aren't you out touring? So all of my bands, I guess, are doing that. That's probably what happens when you get old. Anyway, I have to say, look up Venus Hum. Do some research. Just download some albums or two. They got a bunch of albums. Maybe, I don't know, close to 10, possibly. Maybe not 10, but up there. They're up there. No, it's more than one. And it's fun. Good stuff. And always watch Blue Man Group. And get on. Here's the thing. I will post the video that I watched, the Blue Man Group video with this, because it's amazing. It's just amazing. You're going to love it. That's all I got to say today. Was it worth being off that long to talk about all this stuff? I got to try not to do that again. I don't know for the rest of the year. I don't know how the 2 a week thing works. I like doing 2 a week. I don't know that I have the content for 2 a week. That's what I got to work on for next year in January. Is I'm going to be putting together, I think, better content. So I have more planned content rather than just like talk about what I think, what I experienced. Maybe we'll do there's some news stories. I like the news stories, so we can do some stuff like that and some other stuff. And I definitely need some guests. So all of that kind of stuff will kind of happen in the new year. But if I could keep 2 a week going, that's fine. I'll try to do, unless I'm sick, I'll always try to do the 1 a week. We'll always get that one out. And then the second one, hopefully, the second one will be like a little gift. Oh man, I need to give everybody a little bit of coffee to go with this. Good stuff. I'm shutting it down. We went a little long, but that's okay. Hey, I hope you're doing good. Let's talk next week, okay? Maybe this week, later this week. We could do later this week. I might see you later this week.